At UMC, access to your healthcare is only a call away. Dial 74-NURSE for free, instant medical advice from experienced and trusted UMC nurses, 24 hours a day. Learn more at umchealthsystem.com.
Welcome in, everyone, to RedRaiders.com. I am Zach Long, and of course the man next to me, Don Williams. Today we begin a new little adventure we're going to call Don versus Twitter, where every week Mr. Williams here is going to face all the fury that the Bluebird has to offer. Don, are you looking forward to facing your loyal legion of Twitter followers?
Yeah, I think so, Zach. And I got to say, as we start off, of course, this was your idea, but I think it's a good idea.
Which means it was probably bad.
No, I think it's a good idea because we have some really good questions this week. A handful of questions and on a variety of subjects and some good ones. So let's tackle them one by one without further ado.
I can tell you guys, he's genuinely excited. This is about as excited as Don Williams is. All right, Donald, let's get it started with number one here. Our good friend Mark Mendoza, at Mark Mendoza22, he says, odds that Graham Harrell gets any interest in joining the coaching staff at Texas Tech?
My guess is I would think the odds would be pretty low for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not convinced that Graham will be ready to stop pursuing being a football player yet. Now remember, he was with the Green Bay Packers for a little bit longer than 3 years. So since he's been with one organization now for that long, now he gets cut loose just a couple of days ago. There may be another team or two out there that would be interested in adding him to their roster. So it's kind of going to be up to Graham. At what point does he want to stop pursuing being a player and then go become a coach? Of course, he was with the Canadian Football League team at Saskatchewan before he went to Green Bay, and my sense is that Graham didn't really like the CFL. Of course, Sonny Cumbie on the Texas Tech staff had a successful career there in the Arena League. I don't know if Graham wants to do that or if he wants to go NFL or nothing. And didn't he? But anyway, at whatever point, let's say he did decide that he was ready to become a coach. Right now, there's not really a spot for him on the Texas Tech staff. He would have to be, say, a volunteer assistant. And the other question I have is, you already have Cliff Kingsbury, a former Texas Tech quarterback, on staff. You have Sonny Cumbie on staff as co-offensive coordinator. So I'm not sure yet another former Texas Tech quarterback what he could add that those guys don't already bring to the table. So my guess is that the odds of seeing Graham on Texas Tech's football staff will be kind of low at this point.
Pretty good first question there, Don. Let's keep it rolling, see what they got for you next. How about No Dry County, God bless that name. They say, with Jace Amaro suspended for the first half, will freshman Dillon Cantrell get the start at Y Friday versus the Ponies?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Jace Amaro, when he got ejected for the punch in the bowl game, he's automatically suspended for the first half of the next game, so that carries over into this season. Tech coaches like Dillon Cantrell. I think the starter probably would be Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is Jace Amaro's backup at that Y inside receiver position. Eric Morris says he runs the best routes on the team. He has a real good sense for feeling his way around zone coverage, knowing when to set down, when to move. They really like what he's done over the last year or so. Tech coaches, again, they really do like Cantrell. They've kind of been back and forth on where they want to play him. When they signed him, they thought he'd be an inside receiver. During the summer, they had him running routes on the outside as an outside receiver, and now they have him back training as an inside receiver. So he has a bright future with this program, but on Friday night, I think it'll be Jordan Davis opening at Amaro's position.
And of course, Don, we hope the new and improved Jace Amaro doesn't mug anybody in the back of the end zone and get suspended anymore this season. But let's go ahead and move on to our next subject. But hey, look, it's Mr. Amaro again. Our good friend at Fake Willie T says, Donald, if Amaro has the kind of breakout year that we are all hoping for, do you think he'll forego his senior year and declare for the NFL draft?
Well, of course, that's Jace's choice. If he wants to declare for the NFL draft, he's free to do so. I don't think that you'll see him come out early, and I think there's several reasons why he should not come out early. Now, one is I don't get the sense that Jace needs the money. He comes from a good family background to see his folks at the games all the time. I don't think he'll have that motivation that a lot of early entries do. And then here's a couple other things to consider. One is, if I'm an NFL organization, I'm thinking about drafting a guy high, investing a whole lot of money in him. I think I want to see more from Jace Amaro than I've seen so far. He did not play much as a true freshman, and then last year he missed half the season injured. So he needs to have, in my opinion, not only one good full year. I think if I'm an NFL team, I want to see him have a second good full year. And so I would think it would help him out to come back for his senior season. And here's another consideration, too. I was looking back, tight ends are not a premium position in the NFL draft. You go into the draft and what do you hear? This team needs a franchise quarterback. This team needs a left tackle to protect the quarterback's blind side. Other teams need a cornerback who can shut down one half of the field. Another team needs a wide receiver who can stretch defenses. Tight end is kind of a little bit of a luxury. And I was looking back the last 4 years, the only positions, once it gets past punter and kicker, the only positions that are picked with less frequency in the draft, besides tight ends, are centers and fullbacks. There were 6 tight ends taken in the first 3 rounds last year. In 2012, there were only 3 tight ends taken in the first 3 rounds. 2011, 3 tight ends in the first 3 rounds. And 2010, 4 tight ends taken in the first 3 rounds. So I think there are a lot of reasons why Jace Amaro probably should not declare and come out early and should finish up his career at Tech in 2014.
And quite frankly, I think fans and media alike have been waiting to see what happens when this dude loops together a 12-game season at the physical conditioning that he's in right now. All right, one more here, Don, as we move on. Actually, 2 more here. You are popular today, man. All people wanting to talk to you. But let's get started first with Drew Conley here. He says, Don, who is the one player nobody is talking about that we will definitely be talking about by the end of the season?
Well, I'll go with I'll go with a player who has been mentioned to me by a couple of different people, and that's Brandon Jackson, sophomore at the defensive end. Now, last year at this time, we forecast who would be the sacks leader for Texas Tech, and you look at Brandon Jackson, the guy's 6'4", 250 pounds. He was a highly recruited player, and I predicted him to be Texas Tech's sack leader last season. Obviously, I was a year early on that. He didn't really do much last year. But last week, Matt Wallerstedt, the defensive coordinator, told me that it's actually a really good battle for the starting job at defensive end between Dartwan Bush and Brandon Jackson. You're probably going to see those guys maybe playing about 50-50 at that particular position. And then Kerry Hyder at the beginning of this week, we asked him, who on defense has kind of stood out or who has benefited the most from training camp and come the furthest. And Kerry Hyder said Brandon Jackson. So I'll say Brandon Jackson to answer that question. That's just kind of based on what Matt Wallerstedt has told me and what Kerry Hyder has said this week.
And irregardless, the defense will be a huge focus for all of us as the Red Raiders open the season. All right, Don, one last one. Zach Lind at Hammerhill. He has 2 questions here, getting very greedy, but we'll deal with it this time. All right, Don, number 1. What is your starting quarterback prediction? Okay, we're going to challenge you now. What do you got for us?
Well, obviously, it looks like it's not going to be Michael Brewer, and I don't think it's going to be Michael Brewer anytime soon with the scuttlebutt about what's going on with the back injury there. So you got the 2 freshmen, Davis Webb and Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to say it's the most improbable guy. I think it'll be Baker Mayfield, the walk-on. And here's why. Davis Webb is the most physically talented of all 3 of these quarterbacks. I mean, he has a big-time arm, NFL arm. He has the 6'4" height, see downfield. He has the leadership abilities. Everybody talks about how, receivers say he gets on the receivers when they bust routes. Center says that he will talk back and forth with defensive coaches and defensive players, talking trash to them. He's not afraid of anybody. But with that said, Baker Mayfield is a guy who is a very accomplished quarterback in one of the most successful high school program in Texas the last half dozen years. So he may be be probably more polished than Davis Webb is right now, a little more advanced, even though he's not the scholarship guy. So I will guess, and that's all it is right now, I guess, is Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback Friday night against SMU.
But hell, after the stats you dropped on the tight end draft frequency in the NFL, I'm really not going to doubt your opinion on starting quarterback. So I'll go with Baker Mayfield with you. I'll trust you for right now, Don.
And Zach Lind, being named Zach, gets a bonus question that you squeeze in, right?
The first name, and it's spelled the same as mine, so we'll give him a second question, Don. And he asked, name one player on offense and defense that will surprise this year. We already talked about the defensive player in Brandon Jackson. How about the offensive side?
Offensive side, I'm going to go kind of I'll say kind of a long shot guy, a little bit of a wild card here, and I'll say Tyler Middleton, the transfer from Navarro College. I think when he signed with Tech, a lot of folks looked at the depth chart and said, okay, there's Kenny Williams, there's DeAndre Washington, Quentin White had a good spring, Sadale Foster's still going to do some things in the backfield. There's no room for Tyler Middleton. Where is he going to play? He's got a red shirt, right? But I asked that to Mike Jinks the other day, and Mike Jinks said, I don't see him redshirting right now because his speed is so special. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's a state meet sprinter, and you watch him run, and you think he just kind of looks different than everybody else running. So they may not use him a whole lot running back, but Mike Jinks said we can use him as a wide receiver, not in the slot, as a wide receiver. A guy who run the deep route, stretch the field, in his terms, take the top down. I think like he's a sports car or what have you. So you got that, and you can also use him on special teams, be it as a return guy or maybe as a gunner to get downfield fast and run down punt return.
And in the one practice we were allowed to watch this year, yeah, I said one, you can see real quickly the first time that Middleton hits the corner unimpeded, it's done. The guy has got unbelievable burst speed.
Yeah, now it might not be this Friday, it might not be this week, it might not be next week, it might not be in the first month, but I think he's a guy that over the course of the fall, they will maybe kind of develop some things that he can do, maybe some some special package stuff, and he might be a guy who kind of emerges second half of the season.
Well, Don, that's a hell of a list of questions for our first episode of Don versus Twitter. Keep them coming, guys. Every week we'll do this segment early in the week, so after the Red Raiders play this week at SMU, if you got a burning question you just need answered, the man right here is going to answer it for you. Tweet at him at Don Williams with your questions. Maybe you will make next week's segment. But right now, Don, we're going to wrap this one up. Hey, we got some other good products online right now. Check out our Monday press conference recap up online, and stay tuned. Tomorrow at some point we'll have the UMC Health System AJ Media pregame show, the first one of the year. Until then, though, you want to read Don's stuff, Krista Pirtle stuff, and see some of our videos and photos, keep it locked into LubbockOnline.com, RedRaiders.com for full coverage of Texas Tech football. Don, good maiden voyage, brother.
I enjoyed it, Zach.
All right, we'll see you next time on Don versus Twitter.